The Sunday Standard, billions plan for VIPs. This is a bill that is before Parliament. Legislators at it again. That is what the explanation just beneath the headline is. And of course, this is about a retirement package for retired state officials that will leave a haul, 2.5 billion shillings haul in state coffers. It's a bill by the Narok Senator, Ledama Olekina, that will see the Deputy President, William Ruto, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, raking billions of shillings cumulative if that bill passes through. And this stretches back to 1993. So it will, for example, the Vice President covered go as far back as George Saitoti and Michael Kijana Wamala, Musalia Mudavadi, Mudi Awori, and Kalonzo Musyoka. Dismas, very quickly, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, for me, I think we need to look at it from two levels. Number one, anybody who has served Kenya in high office needs a good retirement package. Right. It needs a very good landing pad. It's a best practice all over. Like, for instance, in the US, the moment you leave office, you get half of the salary you've been earning for the remainder of your life. So if you retire at the age of 40 and you're going to die at the age of 100, you've got another 60 years.
So nothing fishy here?
Yeah, nothing fishy. Okay. But the question we need to be asking ourselves is, do they actually deserve this package? That when they were public servants, did they deliver value? Were their performance measures? Did they actually deliver any value for them to deserve this? Or did they engage in acts of impunity, mediocrity, and corruption, that they stole a lot of money, that even if they missed this retirement package, it's a drop of water in the ocean? That's the question I think we need to be asking ourselves, whether or not our public servants today deliver. Like, for instance, the guys who are responsible for the Solai water project that is collapsing, a number of them will be getting very good pensions, in fact, for doing nothing, for engaging in mischief. And I think that's the question we should be asking ourselves, whether our public servants actually deliver when they're in office.
All right. Mark, is there anything fishy with this bill, which Ledama Olekina has come under a lot of fire for? Although he says he's just enacting and sealing loopholes for a bill that had already been passed.
The reality of the matter is we have to ask ourselves, was the deal that was there before bad or good? And number two, I think as a country we need to start understanding what the zeros after numbers actually mean, because they're just not arbitrary. If, for example, you're going to give someone 84 million shillings for retiring, and then still continue to pay his house bills and have his house boy and house girl and house everything paid for, you have to ask yourself, what role are they playing anymore in society? I'm not saying let's not honor them, but my question is 2.5 billion shillings accumulative annually for 5-6 people. Could it be better placed in hiring 2.5 billion worth of teachers, 2.5 billion worth of nurses, 2.5 billion worth of doctors? I honestly think that our leaders, and I'd really like to urge our retired leaders to really reconsider this thing and actually come out and reject it, because I do not see what exactly they're suffering from. You know, if you take home a salary of above 1 million shillings in this country, you're in the top 1% of this country. What more is needed? And what is servant leadership is if all you want is more and more, even after you've retired.
All right.
Yeah.
Brian, very quickly.
I have a problem with the timing. As Dismas said, there's nothing sinister about the move to award these retirees once they exit the political scene. But the timing, actually, to me, is the wrong one, because we are grappling with a situation where the country has not really found its rhythm when it comes to economic recovery. You know, we are coming from a situation where we were just on an electioneering period all the way until the country got a serious beating in terms of its ability to sustain its people. You look at the cost of living for Wanjiku, it's very high. And the government should be looking at a time like this, how to cushion the Mwananchi against this kind of exorbitant cost of living. And this kind of, narrative of how these guys are awarding and still taking from what the taxpayers, taking from the taxpayer, coming smartly from just the other week where 700 million was awarded to members of parliament in terms of gratuities and other remunerations. It is really a sad picture for us as a country, because the burden still shifts to Wanjiku, and how to elevate Wanjiku to a situation where even if he's highly tasked, he's not able to fill the pitch that much. But in a situation like this one, Ben, when Wanjiku is this really burdened, I think think the pain is too much to bear for him.
All right. On page 11, you have details of what these retirement packs mean for the retired Prime Minister and Deputy Presidents. Just the normal things, 3 drivers, 1 personal assistant, 2 accountants, 2 secretaries. But down there, 84 million is the amount of money each of the retired President, Deputy President, Prime Minister will receive per year. Kipchumba, what is your take on this?
I think I will tend to differ with Dismas Mokua. Maybe it's a good practice worldwide, but look at it this way. Just because it is good to go for vacation as a family, it does not mean that the neighbor must do that.
Yes.
It boils down to basics. For us as a country, our basic is not to do what the Americans are doing with their former presidents. Giving them security, yes. But in terms of compensating them financially, I think we are still far from that. A country whereby a disaster like the Solai one happens and we have a pay bill number, I think we are still far from there. Good. The other thing is this. What is the pride of having former leaders living prestigiously and the people who pay the taxes are suffering? I think this one should go to the hearts of the leaders who these bill targets. They should come out. Leadership is on how they will react to this. We ask them to be more cautious because, yes, at the end of the day, this country does not belong to only a clique of individuals. It belongs to all of us. Recently, we have been told our economy is growing at 4.9%. Lecturers are on strike, doctors. It does not send the right message for us to be reading such a things when we are asking the lecturers and the doctors of this country to go back without pay. Secondly, we talk about reducing the premium on elective seats. This is not how you reduce premium. No matter how much we talk about reducing it and we continue increasing the incentives, people will always kill each other to be presidents, to be deputy presidents, to be prime ministers, and what have you. All we need is to get value for our money as the people.
All right. Very quickly, to just one more story in the papers this morning before we move on to our main topic of the day, and that is on page 6 of the Sunday Standard. Sour relationship. The governor of Nairobi, that is Mike Sonko, appearing to have fallen out with State House over his leadership style now. Just last week, lawyers working for the Nairobi City County called for the disbandment of the Nairobi Metropolitan Authority without the knowledge of the governor. The governor was announcing that he was overturning that decision. And then, of course, yesterday, during that tree planting exercise, we did see the altercation between the Nairobi governor and the CS in charge of environment, that is Keriako Tobiko, over protocol. The fact that Sonko appeared to have been removed rather clandestinely from that program. But all this is pointing, and of course we did see that drama last week over public toilets, weapon-wielding gangs, clashing with police over public toilets. Is Dismas, from where you sit, is Sonko being isolated by State House, or what is happening? I know we've talked about Sonko a lot here on the show.
Well, I don't know whether Governor Sonko is being isolated from State House. I actually don't know whether he's got links to State House. All we know is that Governor Sonko was a Jubilee candidate and is a Jubilee governor in Nairobi. Right. And the people in Nairobi, majority voted for Governor Sonko because he relied on President Kenyatta and the Deputy President Ruto's political capital to go to office. Yes. And he came with a bag of promises. One of the things he told us he was going to do was to work on garbage. And if you walk in the streets of Nairobi, you'll see hills upon hills of garbage. The competition is so stiff that for young children, they can hardly go through the garbage dump. If you're looking for potholes, you don't need to go to Kisii. The potholes are resident here in Nairobi. They can cause, they can easily cause an accident. Your car will get stalled. So the question one needs to ask is Governor Sonko capable of delivering on his promises?
Right.
Does he have the intellectual capacity to understand the challenges in Nairobi and deliver solutions?
And so now you're crossing over to another Pandora's box altogether. But we'll come to
okay. Then let me buttress that. But what happened yesterday?
Yes.
In my view, it's unacceptable, and it would be interesting to establish from State House who gave the instructions that somebody jumps Governor Sonko. You may not like Governor Sonko. You don't need to like him.
Right.
But Governor Sonko is the governor for Nairobi County. And if he's in any function taking place in Nairobi, he must be given the opportunity to speak. You may be worried over the content of his speech, but you must give him the opportunity to speak.
Okay. Mark Bichache, is what happened yesterday a sneak peek of him being frustrated, or is it neither here nor there?
The truth of the matter is this, that Governor Sonko is really struggling to find his feet. He has survived in politics as being populist, as pandering to the gallery, and he's always been in opposition of the executive. Now he finds himself in a position where he is the executive. And if you've listened to his speeches, he's got two favorite subjects. One is the former administration of Kidero, and two is cartels. And he seems to constantly be running towards these two things as his defense. Right. And therefore, the events that you've seen yesterday and throughout the week, and I suspect for a bit longer to come, is a situation where you are trying to find the place of Sonko within the agenda of the nation, and that's really what is happening. Sonko seems to be alienating himself further and further, right, and it becomes hard to include him in an agenda if he seems to be erratic in his actions. And the only way to settle this is there needs to be a marriage between the executive of the country and the executive of the county, because as I've said before on this show, you cannot ignore Nairobi County and be president of this country. There has to be synergy, which is one of the things that probably Kidero got right, because Kidero got out of his ODM shell, and many times he was seen to work with the president, and Sonko will have to do that at some point.
All right. Let's leave it there in terms of what's in the newspapers. It is 11:30. Let's now go to our main topic of the day.